On the 29th September 2011, Theresa Beattie chaired a discussion between three choreographers, Aakash Odedra, Suba Subramaniam and Kali Chandrasegaram. These emerging artists had been on a 3-year bursary program funded by the Arts Council of England, mentored by Theresa Beattie and hosted by Akademi, South Asian Dance, based in London. The focus of the scheme was on the professional development of the artist, which naturally developed into the creation of performance work. This short film brings the three choreographers together to meet for the first time to discuss their individual journeys.
Before I got this scheme with Akademi, I was just taking a lot of shows and I was just doing projects and very physically thinking about dance and not looking at things holistically. When I received the bursary, what it allowed me to do, first of all, it gave me an opportunity which I never had before, which was to do whatever I wanted to. Create a piece with experience working with different choreographers. And I think it allowed me to do a journey which has been very important to me and very integral spiritually and physically. It's allowed me to grow. I got to work with a lot of people who are far more experienced than me, such as Akram, Larabi and Rasul Alifan, and Raphael as well. And what the bursary allowed me to do was also shift my overall presentation on stage, and also really internally think about each part of the process. And of course, I think it allowed me to be without having to worry about a financial aspect of it. And I think it gave me a lot of support from Akademi staff members.
Aakash felt supported by the bursary on what can otherwise be an incredibly lonely process. He was especially appreciative for the support of the Akademi team. Aakash launched his company in December 2011.
What the bursary did at that time was allow me to be really reflexive about the work I wanted to make and where I was at. So I actually used some of that money and the time that money allowed me to have to look at all the past works I've choreographed for Angika or co-choreographed for Angika. So I took a long time to kind of watch videos, look at the kind of movement material I was making. And through that process, what I came to realize was that actually the form of Bharatanatyam itself was no longer the thing that I wanted to focus all my work on. It wasn't the thing that drove me to make the work, and it wasn't the thing that I wanted people to come and watch. It was how I was pushing the boundaries of the form and moving away from the classical form. That was no longer important. What was important was that my work said something, that people could come and watch my work and feel something, be moved or be curious, ask questions. And because the work I wanted to make had a strong scientific concept, I wanted people to be engaged with science, not to throw away the science supplement in a newspaper, for example, or read an article about genetics or something that I've maybe made some work about, as opposed to just creating movement material for the sake of creating movement material. So that then led to me starting to research and develop a piece called The Shiver, which was a collaboration with a poet called M. Sisse, a neuroscientist from Oxford called Morton Kringleback, Professor Morton Kringleback, and a composer that I had got to know through me being an associate artist at the Merlin Theatre in Frome called Kathy Hind. Basically, the bursary, as Theresa mentioned before, it was like a cushion, a very comfortable cushion that allowed me to do all the things I wanted to do, to explore all the things I wanted to explore and start this journey, whilst giving me some element of structure, financial support, and just people to kind of question. And of course, the associateship with Akademi, reconnecting with Akademi and Akademi's work and all the things that I was doing was another great thing to come out of the bursary too. So as a journey, I feel like I've made my first piece. I've taken it to interesting venues, and one of the most amazing things I've managed to do with the Shiver was take it to a science festival, to the Cheltenham Science Festival. So all of a sudden I have an audience who had never seen dance before, or who never engaged with dance as a result of science, but slowly, very, very slowly, I feel like I'm getting my work into interesting places.
Suba, who originally comes from a scientific background, is currently in the process of developing her second piece, Elixir, a performance about water. She's working with a climate scientist and a sociologist with the aim to create more than just aesthetic experience. She sees it as a continuation of her piece, Shiva, a journey that she's really just beginning. Kali first collaborated with Akademi during the productions of Coming of Age and Escapade. His idea and creativity evolved, leading him to apply for the bursary.
When I got the bursary, it was the perfect time because it got me, gave me the opportunity to kind of think of where I'm going to go from there on, from forward, how to go forward and to develop as an artist further.
The area of development which I chose to embark in is to do a research in burlesque, cabaret and cross-dressing, and the idea was to bridge the gap between the informal and the more formal dance styles, to break the barrier between the performers and the audience by taking formal contemporary dance into a more informal setting like the Betsy Barge, which is essentially a bar and a cabaret performance venue. I'm also interested in developing a piece which includes the personal journeys of the performers on stage, whereby taking real life situations and presenting it in a lively and exciting way, going through different emotions and not just only concentrating on the deep and dark side, but also the fun and exciting side as well.
As the conversation proceeded, it became clearer that these artists cared not only about the visual impact of the dance, but about the audience experience and resonating psychological impact of their work. The professional development enabled by the bursary naturally resulted in the 3 performance work of these artists.
And I think there was a tension as well about the intention of the scheme from the beginning, where I felt very clear that it was about professional development with an element of making work for performance in it, which is why there was the commission bit. But I think Akademi is much more accustomed to having projects which are much more performance focused.
Yes, that was
where the learning is, the professional development, if you like, is through learning on the job. Whereas what I felt was that the 3 of you needed to be off the job for a bit to learn, so that you could then apply what you'd learned, not just to the commission, but that it would nourish you for many years to come, so that you'd be nourished with information and experiences and contacts and ideas that you could apply to many, many pieces going forward.
The choreographers agreed on the term, the springboard, to represent the benefit of the bursary, the privileged support they could use during their research and extended devising periods. It gave them the time to think, plan, and make ambitious decisions.